So she is Empowered Framework. That's what we're going to talk about today, and we're just going to share a little bit of detail around it and how you can use it to create sustainable change, because it really is a framework that we have absolute belief in terms of the way it can really create transformation that is lifelong. And the people we've been starting to work with it with them have started to see that. So that's the plan. Hopefully it will be helpful and you'll enjoy it. So yeah, let's dive on in. So Erin, tell me, what is the framework? I'll let you have a sip of water first.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I mean, the SHE framework we've talked about before, but it's essentially self-mastery, healing, and expansion. And we've named it the SHE is Empowered Framework because really the end result of going through each of those stages, if you like, of the framework is that you are a much more empowered version of yourself. You have the ability then to really step into your own power and to live a more intentional life. And so that's kind of, I guess, the reason that the framework exists is because we wanted to really find for ourselves and then for our business as well a pathway to that level of confidence and level of courage that we were looking for. And for us, obviously, the beautiful thing is there's two of us. So when we talk about the structure of the framework, there's very definitely an element of division of responsibility, if you like, when working with us through the framework. And that self-mastery is very much your space. That space where your coaching skill and all of the incredible tools and things that you've picked up along the way come in. And then there's the healing part, which is the part that I tend to come forward in, and that's when we're looking at the energetics and the spirituality and that sort of thing. And then expansion is very much a collaboration. It's that space where if you've done the self-mastery work and you've done the healing work, then expansion is really the space of limitless possibility. And that's where we can tap into whatever is needed, whether it's from your space or my space or from both. So that's kind of the framework in a nutshell, right?
I think for us, that realization that I now call Erin head of healing department, and I'm head of self-mastery department. It doesn't mean that Erin is not more than capable of actually supporting a lot of that self-mastery work, and on the flip side that I can help with the healing. But we felt it was really important for us as individuals to be able to actually really own a space that we could step into and bring everything that we've got to the table, because it's very one of the things about having a business where there's two equal partners, it's amazing on every level, because you always have that other person to like pick you up when you're having a bit of a low day. You've got that person who supports you and gives you the belief. You have someone standing beside you, so you feel braver. But at the same time, there's still a real need for that individual ownership as well. And certainly that was from conversations that we've been having behind the scenes, is that was something that we both really want to step into. We want to develop and grow what we bring to the party, what we bring to the business, and being able to actually provide space for Erin to really step into that healing, for me, is just an absolute no-brainer, because the abilities she already has in that space are incredible, and I can't wait to see how they grow and how they develop. And I think likewise for me in the self-mastery, like that is just, I mean, people know that belief work, that understanding, that deep knowing of who we are, that just inspires me every day. Like I could talk about that all day, every day. And to be honest, I kind of do. So being able to like really step into that space and know that when working with with clients, that is something that I can bring, all the, you know, the understanding of the shadow, the deep questioning that I just love, that ability to just ask why so many times, that you just get to the real core issue, the understanding of how belief systems shape who we are, the impact that societal conditioning has on all of that. You know, these are just a few of the things that I get to really focus on by owning this space. And I'm going to get Erin to talk a bit about what she does in the healing space, because I think it's really important to understand the difference of having those two approaches. And that's whether that's working with us in a paid program, or just, you know, listening to and supporting and taking on board what we share, you know, in our group and in our Facebook page, on our email, you know, all of those spaces. We share a lot of awesome content, you know, that is completely free to consume. But I think by being able to step into our, you know, zones of genius, it really elevates what hopefully you'll be receiving. And then the fact that we have this expansion space, which the two of us can come to and just really, like, you know, show what's possible. It just feels really exciting. It feels so aligned and so so fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
one of the really cool things. But do you want to share a bit about like what you're going to be, you know, talking about in the healing space, and where you're at, and what's coming up for you? Because there's so much cool stuff there really is.
Yeah, I mean, I think first I just want to say I think you're absolutely right that the beauty of or working together allows us to come forward in a much bigger way inside the space that we own, I think. And I think that's been a really important shift for us as a partnership in business, because, you know, the thing that most appealed to me when we first started working together was that all of the beautiful things that you can do, I can't. And so being able to say, actually, like, this is the space that Ellie holds, and being able to be in there energetically and hold space with you for you to do what you are good at, and for what you know, how you can help people. I think it just elevates the level of work that people can do inside of that space. So I love that, you know, when we're starting to talk about things like, you know, the inner child and shadow and all of those, you know, really deep belief navigations that we have to undertake, and unpacking all of that stuff and exploring that. The beauty for me is in being able to hold space for you to do what you do in such a magical way for the people that we work with. And you know, likewise, I feel really honored that you hold space for me to do what I do in the healing area. And so you know, the healing space is very much about if you've been through that self mastery, and you've you know, unpacked your belief systems, and you've started to work out what you need to let go of, what's not serving you, and all of that sort of stuff, then the next phase of going through that is really healing some of that stuff. So there's energetic work to be done there. You know, our beliefs aren't just thoughts, they're actually energetic inside our body, and we need to shift them when they no longer serve us. We need to shift them, we need to let go of them and create space for what we want more of, which is the expansive part. So there's lots of that kind of work. There's work where we, you know, connect in with ancestors and you know, spirit guides and that sort of stuff. There's past life work, there's akashic work, there's all these different tools and things that we can use to really engage in that process of healing our woundedness, releasing what doesn't serve us, and you know, I guess the spiritual side of that work that you do in the human side in terms of self-mastery. It's kind of the other side of that coin, so that what we end up with is a coin that can be flipped, and no matter what shows up, you win. You know, we often, I think, my experience of coaches is that they're one side or the other. You know, they're either very much in that self-mastery belief thought. You know, they talk a lot about limiting beliefs, and they talk a lot about the way that we need to deal with those, get rid of those blocks. But they don't then go on and do the energetic work and the spiritual work that actually embeds those changes. And so what we end up with is, you know, one layer is done, but underneath that, we've just kind of packed everything down a little bit further and a little bit harder. And then when we try to expand, we're limited. And so what we're looking to do with this framework is actually say, if you unpack some of that stuff and start to loosen everything up, then the next space is to get rid of everything that isn't working, and really like remove it from you in an energetic way, so that what's left comes down as far as possible. And then there's so much more room for expansion. Like it's not limited by the work that you haven't done. So I think, is that what you were sort of looking for in terms of an explanation?
Well, hopefully, I mean, anyone who has any questions, please reach out. But I think you're right, creating that space for the expansion, and that's where we get to do the really, you know, the really cool stuff, really connecting into actually what is it that I want my life to be looking like? What is it that I really, you know, there's a great quote, I've been said it to Erin about 25 times, and I probably won't remember it perfectly now. Change is inevitable. Transformation is a conscious choice. So actually, like, if you want to transform, you have to make decisions that that's what you want to do. And when you're in that space of expansion, like, possibility does become endless. There's this chance to use the meditation and visualization skills that, you know, we bring to the party, that we can share. Like, we can talk about how, you know, living within natural cycles can really support that. This is where we get to bring in all that juicy, amazing, cool stuff to actually create a way to live that is going to support the growth that you want, and that oneness of the humanness and the spiritual self being able to be completely balanced. And that's what we want. We are, you know, spiritual beings having a human existence, but we can't be more in one or the other. So we actually have to do the work on both sides in order to be able to show up as the best version of ourselves. And, you know, one of the things that we really talk about is that it's not just turning up as the best version of yourself for you, it's for everybody else around you. And that's something that, you know, the empowered bit is really important. It's, I mean, I call myself an empowerment coach. That's what I believe is my skill, is to make people feel that they are able to have the courage and the confidence to show up as their true self. And I know that Erin has that ability with the healing side of it. So empowered is really important to us. But it's being empowered, whether that's setting up your own business, whether that's showing up in your career more authentically, whether that's being, you know, thinking that you're a better mum, whether it's being a better wife or partner, or whatever, you know, whatever it is that you want to feel like you can do better. When you're empowered, you're able to do that. And we really believe in this 3-step process, and it's a framework, because you keep going around, like, you don't just do it once and like tick, done. But what you can do is by going through the process, it teaches you how to you know, how to really learn to use it, so then you can have it as an ongoing. So, you know, She Awakens, which is starting in February, is going to be a 12-month or longer, like, you can stay in it forever if you want to, program where every month we go through the self-mastery, healing, expansion process. And, you know, you work with me, you work with Erin, and then you work with both of us in that space. And that's, we know that if you practice it, if you keep doing something over and over again, you become really good at it, and it becomes, you know, conscious. You become very aware of what you're doing, so you're able to do it easily. We're also offering at the moment a 6-week like fast track intensive course before Christmas, because we know that, you know, 2022 is just around the corner. Christmas is coming. It's a time where we get to hang out with all of our family, which is amazing, but can also be a little bit triggering. It can make us feel that, you know, bring up a lot of those old wounds. So actually, by being able to do the work ahead of that, allows you to go into that time of year with a really joyful, happy approach, rather than the, oh, fuck, my mother-in-law's coming, how am I going to deal with it type of approach. So we really wanted to offer this out because we think the work's really important. There's limited spaces in that because it's one-to-one, and, you know, we have many other things that we're doing at the moment, so we're limiting it to 5 spaces, but it's going to be a really valuable program. If you just you know that that transformation, that conscious choice that you want to transform, this is your ability, this is your opportunity to actually have a go. And even if you want to do it on your own and do it in your own time, if you can use these elements, self-mastery, healing and expansion, you will see a change in your life. Like, these are life-changing approaches.
Yeah. And I think, the part of the motivation for offering something between now and Christmas was really that, we were starting to think about our own plans for 2022 and what they looked like. And one of the first things that came up is we want it to look different to 2021. And setting intentions around that is part of the process. But all too often we set intentions for ourselves and then we don't set ourselves up for success by doing the other work around that. And how many times have you set yourself a New Year's resolution and in the back of your mind you've got, that's never going to happen?
Well,
I
as
can't do that.
I was sharing with Erin earlier, I found like a file of random things that my mum sent over from the UK over here, and I found my New Year's resolution list, which I will be sharing in the group for you to have a little bit of a giggle at. From, I must have been about 7 or 7. I think I must have been 7, because my younger sister was a baby and she was born just after I was 7, so it would have been that Christmas. And like, one of them was, I will try and make my bed every day. I can safely say that is still on my ever growing list of resolutions. I do it most of the time, but still not every time. So however many years, 42 in next week. So if you don't change the energy behind it, you don't achieve the intention, you don't achieve the resolution. So it was just quite funny finding that, looking at that and the wording and all of that, but we'll share that separately.
Yeah. But I think that's it, isn't it? Is part of any resolution that we make is about really being aware of what we believe about that, and how we navigate the things that come up for us, and the limiting beliefs and the blocks and all of that sort of good human stuff that comes up for us around the change that we're looking to make. But there's also energetic work and healing that needs to be done around that. Sometimes that healing isn't for us. Sometimes that healing is for generations that have passed. Often if we believe that we aren't capable of something, it's because we've seen that others have believed they're not capable of it. So doing work around those sorts of things as well is really important. Creating a fresh space for you to expand into the version of yourself that you want to be is ultimately what drives you and I think, in our work. Is that expansiveness, that growth, and that belief that there are possibilities that we're not even aware of available to us. That's certainly one of my big motivators for what I do and how I share it with the world. And I think you're much the same, that we want the people that we work with to really genuinely believe that being a little bit braver and a little bit bolder and playing a little bit bigger in the world will give them a life beyond what they believe is possible. And so that's part of it, is like thinking about moving into 2022 and what is possible for us inside that space. Really requires that we start to dive deeply into this process now, and not wait for the resolution to come along and then start to, it's kind of like saying, okay, well, I'm going to drive from my house to your house, but I'm actually not going to do anything meaningful about that until the car's already on its way. And then I have to catch up to it, get in, take the wheel, put the seatbelt on, all of the things. Whereas if you can actually do all of that stuff before you start moving the car, then it's a much safer, easier way to go about it. And you know that it's going to be more successful. You're not setting yourself up to crash.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a really cool framework, and we'd love for you to just we're going to be sharing lots of tips on how you can, know yourself better in that self-mastery piece, and tips on how to do the healing work. Like we said, we know that we want to work with people one-on-one, we want to work with people in a group, but we also want to support people here in our Facebook group as well, and anyone watching this on our YouTube channel or in our email list, because we know that this works. We know that change is needed for the world to be a better place for our children. So we will provide that support to you in any which way works for you. So please know that, and please, share us with other people if you think that they could benefit from what we're talking about. So we will be sharing lots more about She, that self-mastery, healing and expansion. It really is a framework that works. We've both gone through it. We're both going through it on a daily basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, however you want. It is ongoing. The work is. And actually, talking the work, we recorded a podcast about that last week, which was so much fun and just like such a cool conversation. So that's going to be probably week 2, I think. So next week, our first podcast will be available for download. So that's very exciting as well. That's been something that's been bubbling away in the background for about 6 months. So it's nice to actually, be able to start sharing, the bigger vision, the bigger conversations. It really is about having big, brave, bold conversations about things that people don't always talk about. So can't wait to share that with you all. It's going to be hopefully well received, and it's been lots of fun to put together. I know that much.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a lot of fun to dive into it, but it's also really galvanized, I think, our desire to do the work that we do, and to do it in a way that feels good for us, and creates transformation and success for the people that we work with. And so if that is something that you think you would like to engage in, if you would like some support around the framework, or if you're ready to make change but you're not really sure where to start or how to navigate some of that stuff, please do reach out. We certainly don't want any barriers to participation in terms of doing the work, for want of a better way of saying it. So if you're feeling like it's not the right time, or you don't have the money, or whatever it is that is coming up for you, still do reach out and have a conversation, because often that's just part of the belief system that our ego sets up to stop us from doing from making change and getting uncomfortable. But also, we've got options. We've always got options to work around some of that stuff. If it's about time, then we look at, is it possible to lengthen the program and do it less frequently, but still be doing the work. You don't have to take 5 steps at once. Sometimes it's just about taking 1 step and really doing that well. And if it's money related, then again, we can also look at different options to try and navigate that. So it's really, for us, it's important that you understand that we genuinely just want to help you do the things that will push you forward in a meaningful way towards the life that you want to have. And that's very much what we have done for each other. And there is not a single person in this world that I would recommend more highly to do that work with than Ellie. I think if you have any sort of things that come up for you around how you see yourself in the world, what you believe is possible, some of the things that hold you back, or that that stop you from taking meaningful action towards the things that you want, Ellie is 100% the woman that you want to be working with to navigate that stuff. So please do reach out. I can't recommend her more highly, and I can't I can't say with more words than what I have.
That is a whole heap of words, and then I have to not that I have to, but I want to come back and respond, but then it feels like we're just like doing a who's going to blow the most smoke up whose ass competition, and that's not the way that I work.
That sounds deeply uncomfortable. So
just trust me, she's amazing and she can make huge changes, and that's all she's getting from me. It's
I'm
just
good with that.
I know that she is, yeah, the work she's done and the, you know, the responses that we're getting from the people that we are working with is just incredible and heartwarming, and all of that. Anyway, we are going to go
Done.
because we've got some other work to do. Thank you for joining us. We'd love to know your thoughts, comments, give us a hashtag replay. If you want
Yeah.
to chat, reach out, all the usuals, and much love to you all. And I'm in
Yeah.
charge of tech today, so I have to try.
You
and
are. So you actually have to try and stop this now.
See you,
Bye.
everybody. Bye bye.